Hey there, and welcome back for another two can dine for under $10. Today it's a jerk chicken salad, mainly because of the fact it's super hot outside lately, and I needed something a little bit lighter. The only reason this is actually possible is because I happened to find a 2-pack of jerk chicken thighs that were pre-marinated, and they were on sale, so about $4.50 for the pack. But you can go into the store. There's always pre-marinated meats and stuff like that, especially thighs. They're super, super cheap, even regular price. And honestly, you could probably make it work, even if it's not on sale. The other thing is if you can't actually find a pack of pre-marinated, often you'll find 2 packs of thighs for $5 or less. And it's more than easy enough to just season them with anything out of your cupboard. If you happen to actually have an all-in-one spice, like even Italian seasoning or Greek seasoning with a little bit of extra salt and pepper, goes a long way and works perfectly fine for this recipe. I don't know why, I'm having a hard time deboning this one. I should have sped this part up and actually showed you on the other one. That goes a little bit easier, but I did only stay slow for the deboning of this one, and then sped it all up because it took a little bit longer for some reason to get these deboned today. And audio noise and all of that kind of stuff from the fans, my bad on that one. Honestly, though, you don't really have to debone it. I just find for a salad, I like to eat it cut up. I don't want to have to pick it off the bone. So what I do is I'll debone it like this. Make sure you feel around to find any bone spurs or shards of cartilage that you missed when you cut it up. And then in the bones on the side there, just throw them in a Ziploc and add them to your bag of bones in the freezer. I always have a bag of bones. Often I'll mix them up even, but toss it in the freezer and save it for soup. See what I mean? This one cut through without any issues. Don't know why I failed so hard on the first one. Speaking of which, that'll be a future video. I will do a soup from all the soup bones I've got in the freezer. Yeah, and like I say, I just tossed them over to the side, but I did keep them. I left the burner about medium-high, roughly. Just threw in some regular canola oil because it's got a higher smoking point than olive oil. I also tend to cook all my chicken like this, at least, with the skin on because it tastes better. If you're watching health or your fat intake a little bit, switch to Pam instead of using cooking oil and take the skin off as well. I cook them skin side down, and I cook them skin side down for probably half of their entire cooking time. Because that way you're pretty much guaranteed a decent skin on it. And since I'm using a non-stick pan, there's no reason to worry about them sticking at least, so leave them face down, check them to make sure they're not burning, but they should get to a pretty dark level. And yes, when I started doing the voiceover of this one, I have recently purchased a small air conditioner for the room that I do this in. So it is loud, but I am comfortable finally. So, again, my bad for extra noise. So we'll end up letting these cook. I'll speed it up, the whole process for this. Eventually you'll see it with a lid on, and it'll have little pieces snipped in and out of it to speed everything up. But you kind of get the gist of it. In the end, all you want to make sure is that your chicken is cooked. I ended up putting some foil on the camera stand that I've got because it was splattering a little bit too much. Nice dark skin. And probably close to halfway through their cooking process. I just moved those ones over there because I noticed that that side was cooking a little bit quicker and these ones seemed a little bit less done. While they are smaller, since it's thigh meat, it's pretty hard to overcook this meat because there's so much more fat in it. But I'll end up covering it with a lid here and then just snipping in and out as I check them. Now this one's also a little bit quicker to make than anything else because really the only thing you're cooking is the chicken and then you're cutting up some veg. So this one is one that you could probably have done quite easily in less than a half hour, start to finish. And I'm going to apologize in advance here. I do try to get some lens shots, and they fail horribly because I didn't realize that I was nowhere near in camera view, really, for when I'm showing the juiciness of it. But I can assure you it is very juicy. After we put it on a cutting board here, we let it rest for essentially the entire time I cut vegetables and get everything ready for the salads. Super simple this time. Red onion, Roma tomatoes, romaine lettuce. None of this is overly expensive, and if it is only two of you and you don't want to stock your fridge with a bunch of stuff, all of this you can get individually as well. Change the lettuce up depending on what's on sale. I went with romaine because it was on sale for $1.78 a head of it. Red onions weren't on sale. Roma tomatoes weren't on sale. But they're not overly heavy or expensive anyway. I think the total cost of all the veg in this is not even maybe $3.50. Near, like, you can add other things, obviously. If you've got them in your fridge, use them. But if you were to go to the store and you get all the things that I've basically shown, it should be under $10, or you should be able to find a way to make it under $10. I, however, always have grated parm in the fridge, so I added a little bit of that at the end. And then as far as for salad dressings, that's kind of your choice. I went with Greek. Often I will just use lemon juice or lime juice with a little bit of salt and pepper. Not really anything crazy fancy, but I don't include the salad dressing in the cost because you will most likely have something in your fridge, and if you don't, usually you can find one on sale for a couple bucks. So now that I've let the chicken rest, I cut it up and did my horrendous camera shots. And I really need to start remembering to put a towel down when I'm working on this table because it's very slippery for the cutting board, and the table itself is a little bit jiggly. Look at all that juice that you can't see because I'm terrible with the camera. No matter what, though, it turned out really good. Meat's really tender, really juicy. Make sure you let it rest for at least 5 minutes. If you wanted to prep your veg prior, just make sure you let the chicken rest at least a little bit. And honestly, that goes for any meat. And honestly, I hand tear my lettuce because I'm lazy. I don't see any reason I have to cut it up. Wash it, get off as much water as you can, hand tear it. Try and make my salad look as pretty as I can, even if it is just a simple one today. Finally got rid of that foil. It was starting to bother me. Now, you can obviously go with vine-ripened tomatoes as well. They are obviously going to taste better. They just didn't really have any that looked good at the store I was at, and price wasn't really the problem, and they just didn't look very good. And here you'll have it in a second. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have ideas for other videos, please let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to try to work with you. Like I said, I'll see you next time.